In life, relationships are not just connections. They are some of our most profound teachers. They shape our joys, our fears, and the very way we see the world. Through our interactions with others, we are constantly offered mirrors that reflect back to us our strengths, our vulnerabilities, and often, our truest selves. But what happens when these relationships, which were once a source of comfort and growth, begin to drain our energy, challenge our sense of self, or even cause us pain? It is a difficult, yet inevitable question. How do we know when the bonds we have built with others, be it family, friends, or partners, are no longer healthy for us? There comes a time, in each of our lives, when we must face the harsh truth that the very people we hold closest to our hearts can become the source of our suffering. We may find ourselves questioning everything we thought we knew about love, loyalty, and connection. These moments force us to ask, what does loyalty truly mean? Is it boundless? Or does it have limits? Can loyalty exist without compromise? Or, like all things, does it too have an expiration date? This is where Buddhist philosophy offers profound wisdom. It teaches us that attachment, the emotional bonds we form with others, is often the root of suffering. The Buddha once said, "An insincere and evil friend is more to be feared than a wild beast." A wild beast may wound your body, but an evil friend will wound your mind. Think about this. A wild beast might cause harm to your physical body, but it is the betrayal, the manipulation, the dishonesty of a so-called friend or family member that can deeply scar your soul, erode your peace, and distort your perception of reality. The teachings of the Buddha remind us that attachment to people, when it is rooted in unhealthy dynamics, can prevent us from growing, evolving, and embracing the fullness of our potential. With this wisdom in mind, let's delve into the 9 signs that indicate it may be time to sever ties, even with those we once called family or friends. This isn't an easy decision, but it is one that holds the ultimate potential for your personal peace, spiritual growth, and emotional well-being. Sign 1. They disrespect your boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define who we are and what we will tolerate in our relationships. They are not walls that separate us from others, but rather the essential space that allows us to connect authentically while still preserving our sense of self. Imagine a river flowing with power and grace, carving its path through the land. The river's flow is free, but its banks are what keep it from overflowing, from becoming destructive. Similarly, your boundaries protect the integrity of your emotional and mental landscape, preventing the chaos that can arise when others repeatedly cross those lines. When someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, it's as if they are digging away at the banks of your river, eroding the very foundation of your peace. The first time might feel like a small violation, but as it continues, the damage becomes more significant. Whether it's someone ignoring your need for personal time, belittling your emotions, or pressuring you to compromise on your values, the constant violation of boundaries is like an unrelenting force that slowly chips away at your inner balance. Zen teachings remind us that true peace comes from maintaining clarity in our relationships. A Zen master once said, "To protect oneself and others, one must draw clear lines." This doesn't mean building walls or cutting people off arbitrarily, but rather defining what is acceptable in your life and communicating it clearly. When those boundaries are violated, the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate is disturbed, and the relationship becomes an ongoing struggle to assert your worth. The importance of boundaries is rooted in self-respect. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about maintaining control over your own well-being. When someone refuses to respect your limits, it is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their inability to honor the relationship. Every time they disregard your boundaries, they show a lack of respect for who you are and what you need to thrive. Letting go of someone who repeatedly disrespects your boundaries is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-preservation. It's about recognizing that your peace and emotional health are far too valuable to sacrifice. Just as a river cannot flow freely without its banks, you cannot live fully without boundaries that honor your personal needs, values, and space. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is a necessary step toward maintaining your integrity and building relationships that nourish you, not drain you. In essence, respecting your own boundaries is not only a gift to yourself, but also a gift to those around you. By teaching others how to treat you, you are fostering healthier, more respectful relationships. And when someone refuses to respect the limits you've set, you must make the difficult but necessary decision to walk away, trusting that you are choosing your peace over a toxic dynamic that will only cause further harm. Remember, you are worthy of relationships that honor and respect you. When you stand firm in your boundaries, you create space for connections that nurture your growth and well-being. Letting go is not an act of weakness, but one of strength and courage. Sign 2. They drain your energy without replenishing it. Healthy relationships are built on a foundation of mutual energy exchange. Think of it as a balanced flow, like the give and take between the earth and the sky. Just as the earth nourishes the plants, and the sky provides the rain, both parties in a relationship are meant to nurture and support one another. This reciprocal energy exchange is essential for emotional well-being and growth. Unfortunately, there are relationships where this balance is missing. Instead of mutual care, one person constantly takes, leaving the other emotionally depleted. Imagine a person who never seems to leave you feeling uplifted after spending time together. Instead, you find yourself drained, weighed down by their negativity, or overwhelmed by their emotional demands. It feels like their energy sucks you dry, leaving you with little left to nourish yourself, let alone anyone else. This is the mark of an emotional parasite, someone who draws energy from you without offering anything in return. Buddhism teaches us that balance is key. The Buddha's teachings on the importance of self-care are clear. When your cup is empty, you cannot fill others. If you are giving all your emotional energy to someone without receiving anything in return, your cup becomes empty. You become a vessel that is constantly drained, unable to nourish yourself or others. This is not sustainable. Eventually, the lack of balance in the relationship will erode your well-being, leaving you in a constant state of fatigue, frustration, and emotional depletion. In Buddhist philosophy, the act of giving and receiving is seen as a harmonious flow. Just as a well-tended garden grows when it receives both sunlight and water, so too must relationships be cultivated with care, balance, and mutual respect. If your relationship feels one-sided, where one person is always giving and the other is always taking, it disturbs the natural flow of energy and prevents both individuals from growing. A relationship like this is not just unfulfilling, it can actually be damaging, as it leaves one party constantly in a state of emotional exhaustion. Choosing to walk away from such a relationship is not selfish. It is an act of self-preservation. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If the relationship consistently drains you without replenishing your spirit, it is perfectly valid and necessary to let go. By preserving your energy, you create space to nurture connections that are supportive, uplifting, and reciprocal. These are the relationships that allow you to grow and heal, and in turn, offer your love and energy freely, without depleting yourself in the process. True, healthy relationships do not take without giving. They nourish both individuals, providing a safe space for emotional restoration. These connections offer mutual care, emotional support, and positive energy that encourages growth. They don't leave you feeling exhausted or diminished, but instead, they leave you feeling restored, more alive, and more aligned with your own needs. When you find yourself in a relationship that constantly drains your energy, it's a clear sign that something is off balance. Instead of continuing to sacrifice yourself, take a step back and assess if this relationship is truly serving your well-being. If it's not, it's time to release it and invest your energy in relationships that honor your needs and contribute to your growth. Remember, you deserve relationships that lift you up, not those that drain you. By walking away from energy-depleting connections, you make room for the relationships that bring joy, balance, and emotional nourishment into your life. Letting go is an act of self-love and protection, a recognition that your energy is precious and should be shared only with those who genuinely care and support your journey. Sign 3. They are consistently dishonest. Trust is the cornerstone of any relationship. It is the invisible thread that binds two people together, fostering safety, openness, and understanding. Without trust, even the strongest connections can falter. The foundation begins to crack, and what once seemed solid can quickly become fragile and unstable. In a relationship where trust is repeatedly violated, the emotional bond dissolves, leaving behind only doubt and uncertainty. Dishonesty, in all its forms, whether it's lies, manipulation, or deceit, creates an illusion that distorts reality. It's like a thick fog that obscures the truth, making it difficult to see clearly. Imagine standing in the middle of a dense fog, where every step you take feels uncertain, and you can no longer trust the path before you. This is what happens when dishonesty seeps into a relationship. It clouds your judgment, skews your perceptions, and makes you question everything, including yourself. Zen teachings emphasize the power of truth. A Zen proverb states, "Lies are like clouds that obscure the sun. Truth, though harsh, is the light that guides." In the same way that clouds block the sun's warmth and light, lies prevent the clarity and warmth that truth brings into a relationship. When you are surrounded by falsehoods, you can no longer see or experience things as they truly are. Your emotional landscape becomes clouded, and you may even begin to doubt your instincts and sense of self. The damage caused by dishonesty goes far beyond just the breakdown of trust. It erodes your self-worth. When someone repeatedly lies to you, it sends a subtle but damaging message: your truth doesn't matter, or you are not worthy of honesty. Over time, this constant dishonesty chips away at your confidence and leaves you questioning your own perception of reality. You may begin to tolerate behavior that is beneath your worth because you've been conditioned to accept less than the truth. This self-doubt becomes a heavy burden that prevents you from fully embracing your own value. Letting go of someone who consistently lies or manipulates you is not about seeking retribution. It's not about punishing the other person. Rather, it's about preserving your own dignity and emotional well-being. It's about setting boundaries that protect your need for truth and transparency. By choosing to step away from dishonesty, you are reclaiming your right to clarity, respect, and genuine connection. Honesty is the lifeblood of any healthy relationship. It allows both parties to be vulnerable, to trust, and to grow. Without it, you are left navigating through a maze of half-truths and deception, unable to move forward. Relationships built on honesty and authenticity foster mutual respect, understanding, and emotional growth. In contrast, relationships where dishonesty reigns are destined to falter. They may seem comfortable in the short term, but they slowly poison the connection over time, leaving both individuals feeling isolated, misunderstood, and emotionally drained. When you walk away from a dishonest person, you are not abandoning them. You are honoring your own need for truth. You are choosing to create space for relationships where you can be seen for who you truly are, and where the connection is grounded in honesty, respect, and shared values. Walking away is an act of self-care. It's a choice to protect your own heart and mind, and to create a life filled with authenticity and trust. Remember, you deserve relationships where truth is the foundation, not illusions built on lies. By letting go of dishonesty, you open the door to healthier, more fulfilling connections, relationships where both parties are free to be themselves, without the fear of manipulation or deceit. Trust, once broken, is difficult to repair, but by honoring your need for honesty, you create the space to invite in relationships that are rooted in transparency, mutual respect, and deep, authentic connection. Sign 4. They use you for personal gain. Some people approach relationships not as opportunities for mutual growth, but as opportunities for personal gain. They may offer kindness, affection, or support, but their intentions are not driven by genuine care for you. Instead, these gestures are motivated by a hidden agenda, an underlying desire to extract something from the relationship for their own benefit. This creates a transactional dynamic, where your worth is not valued for who you are, but for what you can provide. In such relationships, the emotional connection becomes superficial. The giving and receiving are lopsided, with one person pouring into the other without receiving anything of equal value in return. Over time, this imbalance breeds resentment, frustration, and a sense of disconnection. You may begin to feel like an object being used rather than a person being cherished. Your emotions, needs, and well-being become secondary to their self-serving desires. Buddhist teachings shed light on this issue by emphasizing the importance of selflessness in relationships. The Buddha once said, "If a man's good deeds are done with selfish intent, they are like a shadow that disappears when the light fades." This profound statement reveals the fleeting and insubstantial nature of selfish actions. Just as a shadow is temporary and disappears when the light changes, actions rooted in self-interest will ultimately fade when the true nature of the relationship is exposed. Genuine relationships are not about taking from others, but about giving and receiving freely, without expectation of return. When you recognize that someone is using you for their own gain, it is an awakening to the reality that the relationship is no longer built on mutual respect, but on exploitation. This realization can be painful, especially if you have invested time, energy, and emotion into someone who does not truly value you. However, recognizing this behavior is the first step in reclaiming your power. You are not obligated to remain in a relationship where your worth is reduced to a mere tool for someone else's benefit. Walking away from a person who uses you for personal gain is an act of self-respect. It's about choosing to no longer tolerate relationships that are rooted in selfishness and manipulation. You deserve relationships where your value is seen and honored for who you are, not for what you can provide. By letting go of someone who exploits you, you create space in your life for relationships that are founded on love, mutual respect, and genuine care. These are the relationships that nurture your soul, empower you to grow, and bring a sense of peace and fulfillment. In such relationships, the dynamic is one of balance. Both individuals give freely, without the expectation of anything in return, and both benefit from the emotional connection that is fostered. There is no hidden agenda, no ulterior motives, just two people who are there for each other in a truly selfless way. When relationships are grounded in mutual respect and care, they flourish, enriching both people's lives in ways that transcend the material or transactional. By freeing yourself from relationships based on personal gain, you not only protect yourself from being exploited, but you also create the possibility of building connections that are more meaningful and fulfilling. Relationships where both parties come together with an open heart, offering support, compassion, and understanding without strings attached, are the ones that truly nourish your spirit. Walking away from relationships that are transactional in nature is an opportunity to align yourself with those that bring true value, connections that are based on love, trust, and the shared desire for each other's well-being. Sign 5. They cannot celebrate your joy. In healthy relationships, joy is meant to flow freely between individuals, like a river that nourishes both banks. When something positive happens in your life, whether it's a personal achievement, a moment of growth, or even a small victory, a true friend or partner should celebrate with you, genuinely uplift you, and feel joy in your success. They should share in the happiness you've earned, not as a way of claiming it for themselves, but as an extension of the love and connection you share. However, not all relationships operate this way. Some individuals, when confronted with your joy, react not with celebration but with envy, jealousy, or dismissiveness. Instead of feeling happy for you, they feel threatened by your success, and their response is to belittle or minimize it. They might downplay your accomplishments, make you feel guilty for being happy, or even try to redirect the attention back to themselves. In these moments, your joy becomes a source of discomfort for them, and their reaction serves to diminish the light that your happiness brings. Zen wisdom teaches us that envy is a poison to the soul. As a Zen proverb says, envy is the greatest of all poisons. When envy takes root in a person's heart, it clouds their ability to feel genuine joy for others and turns happiness into competition. It prevents love from flowing freely and prevents people from celebrating one another's successes with an open heart. Instead of a shared feeling of joy, envy creates distance, bitterness, and a subtle but growing resentment. If someone consistently makes you feel that your happiness is a burden to them, it is a clear sign that the relationship has become toxic. Their inability to rejoice in your achievements not only harms your emotional well-being, but it also reflects a deeper issue within them. It suggests that their own insecurities or unresolved issues are being projected onto you, and they are unable to see your success as an opportunity to bond and share in the beauty of your life. This kind of emotional environment is stifling. When your achievements are met with silence, criticism, or indifference, it can slowly chip away at your confidence and sense of self-worth. You may begin to question if your joy is valid, or if you should keep it hidden to avoid the discomfort of others. Over time, this creates an unhealthy dynamic, where your sense of happiness becomes something you must protect, rather than something you can freely express. True relationships are grounded in love, mutual respect, and shared joy. They are not based on competition or comparison, but on the understanding that the happiness of one person can uplift the other. A true friend or partner finds joy in your success because it is a reflection of the love and positive energy that exists between you. They celebrate your victories as if they were their own, knowing that the happiness of one contributes to the happiness of both. When you are surrounded by people who truly care for you, your joy becomes a collective experience. The more you celebrate each other, the more the bond between you strengthens. These relationships are empowering and nourishing because they are based on mutual appreciation and a desire for each other's well-being. Your happiness is not seen as a threat, but as an invitation to deeper connection and shared celebration. If you find that your happiness feels like a weight to the people around you, it may be time to reevaluate those connections. You deserve to be in relationships where your light is welcomed, not dimmed. By releasing those who cannot celebrate your joy, you create space for people who will cherish your successes, uplift you when you're down, and walk beside you through life's highs and lows. True relationships, after all, are not about who shines the brightest, but about creating a shared light that brightens both your paths. Sign 6. They create constant trauma. Some people seem to thrive on chaos. They are drawn to drama, often blowing small disagreements or insignificant issues out of proportion, transforming them into intense storms of negativity. This emotional turbulence becomes their way of life, and it's as if peace and calmness are foreign concepts. These individuals create an atmosphere where every conversation becomes a potential battleground, where every minor incident becomes a crisis, and where harmony is constantly disrupted by needless conflict. The impact of such a relationship on your well-being cannot be overstated. Constant exposure to this kind of energy drains you emotionally and mentally, pulling you into unnecessary battles and distracting you from what truly matters. You find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to navigate every conversation with caution, never knowing when the next explosion will occur. Over time, you may even start to internalize this tension, carrying it with you long after the confrontation has ended. Buddhism teaches us the importance of cultivating a calm and harmonious mind. The Buddha said, "Avoid the company of those who delight in quarrels, for they disturb the stillness of the heart." This wisdom is not merely about avoiding conflict, but about protecting the inner peace that is essential for personal growth and emotional stability. If your environment is consistently filled with chaos and emotional upheaval, it becomes nearly impossible to cultivate the clarity and serenity needed for self-reflection and spiritual development. When you are surrounded by someone who thrives on conflict, your own sense of peace begins to erode. It becomes difficult to find rest in your own mind when the energy around you is always on edge. The constant drama distorts your ability to think clearly, as your emotional state is in a perpetual state of unrest. Your relationships, your decisions, and your well-being all become influenced by the toxic energy created by the chaos. It is important to recognize that walking away from someone who brings constant trauma into your life is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of compassion. Compassion for yourself, because you deserve peace and emotional stability. Compassion for them, because by staying in this tumultuous dynamic, you are not helping them heal or change. In fact, your continued presence may be enabling their dysfunction. You are not abandoning them. Rather, you are choosing to remove yourself from the cycle of negativity that is both hurting you and keeping them in a state of constant turmoil. Letting go of relationships filled with constant drama is not about punishing the other person, but about protecting your own peace. It is an acknowledgement that, in order to grow, you must create a space free from chaos. You deserve to be in relationships that nurture your spirit, not drain it. When you let go of toxic people who bring constant trauma into your life, you make room for healthy, peaceful connections that support your emotional growth and provide you with the safety and stability you need to thrive. By releasing yourself from the grip of those who thrive on chaos, you take the first step towards cultivating a life that is centered, balanced, and peaceful. This is not a rejection of the person, but an embrace of your own well-being. Letting go allows you to create space for relationships that are based on mutual respect, understanding, and emotional safety. It is through these relationships that you can experience true growth, free from the constant noise of drama and conflict. Sign 7. They make you feel lesser. In some relationships, criticism becomes a constant presence, overshadowing any positive reinforcement. If you find that your dreams are belittled, your opinions dismissed, or your sense of self-worth undermined, you are not in a healthy or supportive relationship. True allies do not seek to diminish you. They lift you up, encourage you, and celebrate who you are. If someone continually makes you feel smaller, unimportant, or unworthy, it is a clear sign that the relationship is toxic. Zen philosophy teaches us that self-respect is fundamental to inner peace and emotional well-being. As a Zen monk once said, "Do not allow anyone to make you feel small, for within you is the vastness of the universe." This teaching emphasizes that you are worthy of respect and dignity simply by being who you are. You carry within you limitless potential, and no one has the right to make you feel inferior, no matter the circumstances. By allowing someone to belittle you or continuously undermine your worth, you are denying the sacredness of your own being. A relationship that constantly diminishes you drains your confidence, making it difficult to recognize your own strengths and abilities. It may make you second-guess yourself, question your decisions, or even doubt your right to have your own voice. Over time, you may find that you've lost sight of your own value, allowing someone else's harsh words or dismissive attitude to shape your perception of yourself. Leaving such a relationship is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of strength. It is an acknowledgement that you value yourself enough to set boundaries and protect your self-worth. It takes courage to walk away from someone who consistently makes you feel lesser, because it requires confronting your own fear of rejection, loneliness, or even guilt. But in reality, walking away is the most empowering choice you can make. It is a choice to stand tall and honor your true self, regardless of how others perceive you. When you leave behind relationships that diminish you, you create space for new connections that celebrate and nurture you. You allow yourself to be surrounded by those who see your worth, who empower you, and who uplift you on your journey. True relationships are built on mutual respect, appreciation, and love. By walking away from those who make you feel small, you free yourself from the emotional weight of their negativity and open the door to healthier, more supportive connections that encourage your growth. The process of leaving is not easy, but it is necessary for your emotional and spiritual health. You deserve to be in relationships where you are valued for who you are, where your voice matters, and where your dreams are supported. This is an act of self-love, recognizing that you are deserving of respect and kindness. By choosing to preserve your self-worth, you are making a powerful statement. You will no longer allow anyone to diminish your light. You are choosing to honor your potential and protect your peace. Sign 8. They refuse to grow. Life is a journey of constant evolution, a continuous unfolding of new experiences, lessons, and insights. However, not everyone is willing to embrace this flow of change. Some people cling stubbornly to destructive habits, outdated beliefs, and unproductive patterns. They resist growth and transformation, creating stagnation in both their lives and yours. When someone refuses to evolve, they become a heavy anchor, holding you back from your own growth and potential. Buddhism teaches us the wisdom of impermanence, that everything in life is subject to change, and this includes ourselves. The Buddha once said, Just as the snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over again. This teaching reminds us that personal growth is not a one-time event, but a continuous process of shedding old layers, letting go of attachments, and evolving into the next version of ourselves. Just as the snake sheds its skin to make way for new growth, we must let go of the past to move forward on our spiritual journey. When someone refuses to grow, they create an environment of stagnation, where progress and improvement are blocked. This resistance to change can take many forms, whether it's an unwillingness to confront personal flaws, a refusal to adapt to new circumstances, or a deep attachment to outdated ways of thinking and being. Over time, their stagnation will start to seep into your life, draining you of energy and enthusiasm. You may feel stuck, as if you're constantly being pulled into the past rather than moving toward the future. The refusal to grow not only hinders their own progress, but also impacts the relationship you share. In a healthy relationship, both individuals should be on a journey of self-improvement, supporting each other as they evolve. But when one person resists growth, it creates an imbalance. You may find yourself outgrowing them, while they remain tethered to their old ways. This imbalance can lead to frustration, resentment, and a sense of being trapped in a relationship that no longer serves your best interests. Letting go of someone who refuses to grow is not an act of cruelty, it's an act of liberation. By walking away from stagnant relationships, you free yourself to pursue your own journey without hindrance. You create space for relationships that foster mutual growth and self-discovery. These relationships become places of support, where both individuals encourage and challenge each other to evolve and improve. Embracing change is essential not only for your personal growth, but also for the relationships you nurture. If you stay in relationships that keep you stuck, you may miss out on the opportunity to connect with others who are on their own paths of transformation. True relationships are dynamic, evolving, and supportive. They thrive on shared growth and mutual respect. By letting go of those who refuse to grow, you open the door to new, more enriching connections that allow you to both flourish. In the end, growth is not just about personal success. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, aligned with your highest purpose. Embrace change, and as you do, you will naturally attract relationships that encourage your growth, uplift your spirit, and help you become the person you were always meant to be. Sign 9. They do not reciprocate love or effort. Love and effort are the lifeblood of any relationship, the forces that nurture, sustain, and help it grow. Without both individuals contributing equally, the connection quickly becomes imbalanced, leading to feelings of resentment, frustration, and emotional exhaustion. Zen philosophy teaches us that relationships, much like a garden, must be tended to by both parties in order to flourish. If one person is giving, while the other is only taking, the relationship loses its vitality and purpose. A Zen parable illustrates this concept beautifully. It tells the story of a tree that offered everything it could to a man: the fruit of its branches, the shade of its leaves, and the wood of its trunk. Yet the man never watered the roots of the tree. Over time, the tree withered, and the man was left with nothing. This parable serves as a poignant reminder that relationships require nurturing from both sides. If one person is constantly giving, and the other is not contributing in return, the connection will eventually dry up and fade. When love and effort are not reciprocated, the relationship becomes unsustainable. The imbalance can lead to emotional depletion, as you find yourself constantly giving without receiving the same energy in return. This one-sided dynamic not only drains your resources, whether they be emotional, mental, or physical, but also erodes your sense of self-worth. You begin to question your value in the relationship, wondering why your efforts are not being matched. Walking away from a relationship where love and effort are not reciprocated is not an act of abandonment or selfishness, but an act of self-preservation. It is a recognition that your time, energy, and love are precious and should be invested in relationships that nurture and uplift you, rather than depleting you. It's about honoring yourself enough to seek connections that are balanced, where both people contribute equally to the relationship's growth and flourishing. When you step away from one-sided relationships, you free yourself from the emotional burden of carrying the entire weight of the connection. You open up space to invest in relationships that are mutual, supportive, and fulfilling. These relationships allow you to grow, thrive, and experience love in its truest form, where both parties give and receive, support and challenge each other, and build something meaningful together. In the end, relationships should be a source of joy, not exhaustion. They should be partnerships that elevate both individuals, where love and effort flow freely between each other. By walking away from those who do not reciprocate, you create the opportunity to experience deeper, more authentic connections that nourish your soul and align with your highest self. Conclusion: the power of letting go. Letting go is never easy. It is one of the most challenging yet transformative acts we can undertake. It requires immense courage, wisdom, and a profound trust in the unfolding process of life. When faced with the decision to release something or someone that no longer serves us, it often feels like stepping into the unknown. But Zen teachings offer us profound guidance. By letting go, we create space for new opportunities, new relationships, and a deeper connection with ourselves. It is in this space that life's beauty can truly flourish. The act of letting go is not one of abandonment or coldness. It is an act of self-preservation, but also one of compassion. It's an act of love, both for ourselves and for others. By choosing to release harmful or toxic relationships, we are creating space for both ourselves and others to grow. Letting go aligns us with the flow of life, allowing its natural beauty to fill the spaces that negativity once occupied. We often forget that attachment causes suffering, and that holding on to what no longer serves us only prolongs our pain. Zen wisdom teaches that true freedom comes when we release our attachments. This freedom, however, does not mean turning away from people or things out of spite. It means choosing ourselves, our well-being, and our growth. When we let go, we make room for the love, peace, and joy that we truly deserve. We stop sacrificing our peace for others, and instead, we create the conditions for relationships that nourish and support us. Letting go is an act of honoring our own humanity. It is a commitment to our own well-being, a commitment to our healing, our growth, and our emotional peace. It is choosing to no longer carry the weight of toxic relationships, but to release ourselves to pursue the life we are meant to live. In this process, we come to understand that letting go is not about rejection or abandoning others. It is about creating space within ourselves for new growth, for healing, and for the love and peace we so deeply deserve. By freeing ourselves from the weight of unhealthy relationships, we open ourselves to what life is offering us: new opportunities, new beginnings, and the possibility of profound transformation. So, when you find yourself in the difficult position of having to let go, remember this: it is not about what you are leaving behind, but about what you are making room for. It is a path to freedom, to peace, and to the life you truly deserve. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to Mindful Glow for more insights on Zen, Buddhist philosophy, and how you can create a life filled with peace and wisdom. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share your experiences with letting go of toxic relationships in the comments below. Remember, embracing the process of letting go is an essential step in honoring yourself and your journey toward growth. Until next time, keep living with integrity, love, and wisdom.